The Biden administration upheld a Trump-era rejection of nearly all of China's significant maritime claims in the South China Sea. The administration also warned China that any attack on the Philippines in the Flashpoint region would draw a U.S. response under a mutual defense treaty. The strong message came from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The timing is important since it's the 5th anniversary of a landmark international arbitration court ruling that repudiated China's claims to the waters. Well, earlier there was some apprehension regarding Biden administration's stance in this matter. This has been made clear now. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how the Biden administration is going hard on China's South China Sea claim, just like the government under Trump. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by War Thunder, the most comprehensive military vehicle online game for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, in which you can go to battle on more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s. The game has an amazing attention to detail and focuses on a realistic combat experience, which is why knowing your vehicles and skill really makes a difference. It's easy to get into, and all you need to play is nothing more but your mouse and keyboard or controller. Immerse yourself in cross-platform combat with more than 20 million other military vehicle enthusiasts from all over the world. Download and play War Thunder for free using the link in the description below, and also get a free bonus tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account. Ahead of the 4th anniversary of the ruling last year, the Trump administration came out in favor of the ruling, but also said it regarded as illegitimate virtually all Chinese maritime claims in the South China Sea outside China's internationally recognized waters. Nowhere is the rules-based maritime order under greater threat than in the South China Sea, Blinken said, using language similar to Mike Pompeo's. He also accused China of continuing to coerce and intimidate Southeast Asian coastal states, threatening freedom of navigation in this critical global thruway. The United States reaffirms its July 13, 2020 policy regarding maritime claims in the South China Sea, he said, referring to Pompeo's original statement. Prior to Pompeo's statement, U.S. policy had been to insist that maritime disputes between China and its smaller neighbors be resolved peacefully through UN-backed arbitration. He stated, "We also reaffirm that an armed attack on Philippine armed forces, public vessels, or aircraft in the South China Sea would invoke U.S. mutual defense commitments." Viewers may note that Article 4 of the 1951 U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty obligates both countries to come to each other's aid in case of an attack. China claims almost 90% of the South China Sea through its so-called 9-dash line map. It says it has indisputable sovereignty over the sea. China's sweeping claims of sovereignty over the South China Sea have infuriated competing claimants Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, Indonesia, Vietnam, as well as the Philippines. The United States, Japan, Australia, and India favor freedom of navigation as it's a very important sea route with $5 trillion in trade, half of the global merchant shipping, and half of the world's oil shipment pass through it. The sea also allegedly has 11 billion barrels of untapped oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. China has embarked on its massive land reclamation program in early 2014 and has since then deployed diverse military assets in several islands in the region, like the airbase in Woody Island. As pointed out by several experts, this kind of undertaking is part of the Chinese salami slicing strategy. This strategy aims for the slow accumulation of small changes. China's strategy relies on low-intensity but constant and simultaneous small provocations at multiple pressure points. This serves to stretch thin the capabilities of smaller nations like the Philippines and Vietnam to respond, while limiting the risk of escalation to a manageable level. In 2013, the Philippines government, led by then-President Benigno Aquino III, brought an arbitration case against China in the Permanent Court of Arbitration. On the 12th of July, 2016, the tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines. The landmark decision rejected China's assertion that it enjoys historical rights over a huge area of the South China Sea encompassed by a 9-dash line. China had argued that the tribunal had no jurisdiction in the matter and rejected the decision. But by that time, Rodrigo Duterte had become the new president and declared that he had no intention of taking any steps based on the judgment. He also openly favored aligning internationally with China and Russia, despite the existence of a long-standing treaty of friendship with the United States. But the underlying issue of Chinese hegemony remained. The country has made 128 diplomatic protests over China's activities in contested waters since 2016, and the Coast Guard and Bureau of Fisheries vessels have conducted sovereign patrols in the Philippines' EEZ, or Exclusive Economic Zone. The 5 years have exposed the limitations of the international systems. China has used this time to further build its military, especially its navy. The Pentagon's China report noted that Beijing remains engaged in a robust surface combatant construction program, producing new guided missile cruisers (CG), guided missile destroyers (DDG), and guided missile frigates (FFG), which will significantly upgrade the PLA Navy's air defense, anti-ship, and anti-submarine capabilities. China has officially commissioned its second aircraft carrier, the Shandong, in a ceremony that took place on the 17th of December last year. China has also launched the first class of amphibious assault ships, called the Type 075, that has an estimated displacement of 35,000 to 40,000 tons. It's clear that just diplomatic efforts will not be enough. There's a need for more effective measures, as well as coercion against China, so that sensible and reasonable solutions could be achieved. One way will be the addition of major military muscle in the Indo-Pacific region by the U.S. Good thing is that it's already underway.